There we go. It's recording. So now, if you have something that you almost forgot, you don't have to write it down. We're going to be passing out that recording towards next day, along with that survey. And then lastly, because this is all about asking questions, after we kind of chat about a little bit about holiday giving and Giving Tuesday as a whole. We do have a form. It's going to be easier if you submit it to the form because seems Jason cannot hear us right now. It'll be easier for us to read it through the form rather than the chat, which is a continuous stream. So I'm going to quickly drop that form in here. Say it whenever you want if you have a question that you would like to ask us towards that time. But first, I'd like to turn it over to Rachel and Jason if they can, tell us a little bit about first yourselves, and then we can jump into kind of holiday giving and also Giving Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll take over. I usually have Jason do this intro. He's usually the whiz at that, but I'll take a stab at it. So my name is Rachel. I work with Commit Change in operations and also customer success. So Commit Change provides a comprehensive platform for your online fundraising. We make sure that you are able to run campaigns, events, and also do all of your donation processing online in one platform, no more data consolidation. And also, we specialize in the donor experience. So not only do we make tools that nonprofits love to use, but that donors love to use as well. And we are so excited to partner with Grassroots because now you can get our Essentials package for a discounted price. So instead of the $79, it's $50 a month. And we are so pumped that we are able to offer that to so many deserving nonprofits. So yeah, that's Commit Change. And, we really emphasize being able to be there for a nonprofit's very personal experience. If you come on, you'll likely get a call from this lady, and we'll get you going. And and today we're excited to talk about holiday giving. We have done a lot of research on holiday giving. Is most nonprofits raise about 33% of their annual funds in the month of December. So we really wanted to make sure that we provided what our nonprofits needed to really succeed in this time period. Did we lose Jason?
Oh, we lost his video. Do a quick test of say whether this is coming out choppy or it's not. We are testing out new webinar technology because it does allow us to have more people in the webinar rather than the last time. But we do want to make sure that this is working well. How do I sound currently to the entire audience? Cutting in and out. A little bit muffled. Here's probably the best solution for us is to switch to phone for our audio settings. Do you have your phone by you?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
All right, I'm gonna grab my phone. Let's see if that fixes it. I don't want to have people have bad audio right now.
Yeah, that's no good.
Hey guys, I'm in here now. Can you hear me on the phone?
Yes. So how did you get on the phone?
So if you go into more, there is switch to phone.
Great. All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Great. Oh, Jason. Hey.
Hi, everyone. How is everyone doing?
Thanks for bearing with us, everybody. Hi,
Can I be
Diana.
heard right now?
Yes.
How am I doing on audio right now for everybody?
Just fine.
Just fine.
Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Jesse. Hi, Diana. Hi, Christine.
Yeah, Jason, do you want to give a little spiel? Introduce yourself.
Sure. Guys, I'm so sorry. I just ran 30 blocks to try and get here. I'm soaking wet. Yeah, so I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Commit Change, and we're really excited about this December. You know, I'm sure you guys have gone over a little bit of this, but over 30% of all online gifts are going to be produced in the month of December. So really for any nonprofit, December is going to be a huge month of planning and strategizing about how to really capture a large share of those donations. And so please, I'm seeing everyone's chat here. Let's jump right into some questions or discussion about holiday giving. And I think it might be useful to break this up into two parts. One being Giving Tuesday, which is December 2nd, because I'm sure many of you have plans for that, and as you should. And then the other being holiday giving, actual donations and campaigns and efforts revolving around the actual holidays, and the messaging also revolving around the holidays. So maybe in the chat, if people can hear me okay, who's got plans for Giving Tuesday? Let's see if we can get some chat discussion here going.
I do have some quick questions that we have in through the forum, so I can unmute those people. We'll test out their audio if that's not working. We'll try that, but let me bring up the first question, and that's from Christina McLaughlin. And I'm going to unmute you, Christina. We're going to just try right now to see if we can have some of the audience participation. I know it hasn't been completely clear on the audio, but I am going to unmute you in just a second. If it's working. All right, Christina, can you hear us right now?
And so, I mean, you have the smart goals, right? I sent you those.
We might not have been able to hear perfectly. Why don't I ask your question? If you have a follow-up question towards it, we'll jump back into the chat and you can ask it through there. But Jason and Rachel, Christina asked on our forum, how do you pick a reasonable monetary donation goal for Giving Tuesday? We've had no online donations all year, only memberships. I'm concerned if we set too high and don't make it, it will discourage people from donating in the future. And I'm just going to drop that into chat right now so you can read it.
Sure. Well, I'm sure Rachel will have some comments on this as well. One thing I've noticed through campaigns that happen through Commit Change is that you can always increase your goal. You can always increase your fundraising goal. We recently had a campaign that their goal was $100,000, really healthy goal for their crowdfunding campaign, and they increased that goal 3 separate times to accommodate the amount of donations that were coming in. And with crowdfunding, one thing that's a little bit different, I think, than just your regular donations that come in through your donate button on your website or through checks that come in as donations, is crowdfunding really requires the involvement of the crowd, right? Of other people to rally around the cause and feel like they're a part of it. So when I donate $5 to, a nonprofit and it's part of a crowdfunding campaign, I want to be able to see that impact and track my impact over the course of that fundraising campaign. So, if the goal ends up being too high and you have too little involvement, right, people's contributions won't really make a dent in the overall goal. So I think that certainly, don't shy away from having an ambitious goal of fundraising, but you can always increase that fundraising goal over time if you want to, if you really want to test the waters as far as what is the right fundraising goal for your campaign.
Yeah. Also, just speak to that for a moment. We have a lot of nonprofits that come to us and say, hey, we are just starting to get our fundraising to kind of go online. A lot of our fundraisers are, most of our fundraising is from offline, from checks, things like that. But it's all about gaining, sort of training your donor base to start to donate online. It's so much easier for them. They don't have to fill out a check. There's no, format to fill out. Our donation button, can take a total of, 30 seconds. And, the thing about crowdfunding campaign is it gets them, the goal is to get them excited about one idea specifically. So, whatever is relevant to your nonprofit, whether that's an individual or a program, and you rally all those around a program and, try to get them, in touch and excited about, that specific cause in your organization. And I think you're smart to think about, sort of a lower goal. But, this is a new thing for people. New things can be exciting, and it makes it so much easier to share information about your cause when it's online. So say you set your goal to be a $500 campaign to fund one of your programs that are, sort of underfunded. Make sure you have, a great video that shows how much your organization can make an impact with this particular program, and then get all of the people who really care about that program to share it, either through Facebook or email or Twitter, and, say how much, they love the program and, ask others to donate to it as well. So in this way, you'll expand your donor base and help your donors start to think about donating online. So yeah, I agree, to just to second Jason, don't shy away from campaign fundraising just because it hasn't been something that's been done with your organization before. It's, an untapped opportunity and, something that can be really beneficial. And, again, we see nonprofits all the time that, encounter this and overcome it.
Now, again, if anybody has any questions, you can submit it right into the chat, or you can go to that form. We'll take it anyway. But I do have another question, and I'm going to preface it by that Jason and Rachel and myself actually talked about this one yesterday. So it's kind of the perfect question. It is anonymous, but if anybody wants to follow up on the question, to please, ask away. I am going to drop it into chat and read it at the same time. So how do you attract donors when your organization doesn't focus on cancer, kids, or animals? What is the best approach for an emotional appeal in this case? Our organization focuses on adult literacy. It is in chat, but how do you attract donors when your organization? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I see it right here. A lot of nonprofits struggle with this, right? Where, it's incredibly easy to fundraise for your organization when you could put a cute kid on the cover of your campaign and say that, we're helping this beautiful little child to have a better life. It's not so easy when you're raising money for the preservation of a historic building, per se, right? So, when your organization isn't focused on some humanitarian cause that already has a built-in story prepared, right? It's important to craft a story around the campaign that that has a human connection. So let's say you are raising funding for the Historic Building Preservation Society, right? Well, if I'm raising money for that organization, it's not a cause that's going to raise eyebrows from, if you're just plain Jane describing what it is that you do versus, yes, we're saving children from, we're keeping children fed in Uganda, right? That certainly has a much more immediate impact. So when you're crafting your story, it's important to make a human connection in the story that you craft about your fundraising campaign. Even if the beneficiary of the donation dollars go to the general fund or to or to something in particular that may not have that same emotional impact. And so, when a nonprofit is crafting that story, trying to come up with one particular individual story or one human connection, and this brings up, and I could maybe try to share my screen at some point.
Yeah.
Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Just click the desktop it's right in the middle.
Yeah. If everybody in just a second isn't able to see my computer screen, just let me know. Let me see if I can share this real quick here.
I was about to mention the video.
Yeah, and again, I apologize for jogging across town here to join you guys. Let me see here. It's going to make me install an app, so I'll just describe it right now. And you know what I'll do? I'm gonna just put a link to this in the chat here so that everybody can go and check this out. But basically, there's a campaign raising funding for childhood cancer research, right? And it's actually going to a specific hospital to provide that research. But the story around the campaign is not about childhood cancer research. It's not about that particular hospital. It's about a wonderful young lady who's been diagnosed with childhood cancer. She's a college student over in Alabama. And being able to make that human connection and that human story, I just shared it in the chat there if anyone would like to click on it. But being able to make that human connection and that human story is so critical to their fundraising campaign because I can't relate to a hospital. I can't relate to something that I can't see that's not tangible. But what Kayla has done with her campaign is really made the story about her struggle and about her experience, and that really has helped them. And if you look at the campaign, they've raised over $100,000 in less than a month for childhood cancer research. But even though their campaign and the end dollars are going towards this hospital fund, the story is completely separate. It's completely different, and it's all about that human experience that Kayla is experiencing.
Yeah, the other thing about this campaign that's interesting too is, this family, it's not, this isn't a legacy organization that has been raising, money for a long time that has, this existing donor base. They just got out there and, made this incredibly compelling story and video about Kayla and have been able to raise, all of this money organically. They started with, what did you say, Jason? It was $100,000, right? And then they just keep continuing to oversubscribe.
You know what? Their initial goal was only $50,000, and they passed that in literally the first week. So going back to that, going to that discussion about how much is okay to raise, right? No one, the donors that come to your site to donate are going to be new donors. So they're not necessarily aware of or interested in previous goals that may have been set. Their interest is in achieving the new goals that are out there.
We're starting to get some questions pouring into the question. Type so right in the chat. I wish people could be talking to us. It's just right now this software has not played nice with us. So I apologize for that, but we're going to go to the next question that comes. Oh, and we see Jason right now. That's wonderful.
All right, here we go.
I'm going to submit it right into the chat. This is from Christine Dunning.
All right.
So, Christine, if you do have any type of follow-ups during this, just type it right into the chat. There we go, and I'll read it right out so everybody can see it, because I'm not sure if the recording will also have this. Why do many funders find it hard to give/lend support for new, innovative programs, but instead choose to fund those that clearly need revamping to be more effective? I thought it was about ability to affect change, not finding a safe place to donate to.
Oh man, this is we literally run into this every day. I see Rachel smiling over there. You know, people like to do what works, right? If I've been sending out a paper campaign and, you know, envelopes to my donor base for the last 20 years, and I know that if I send this out, I'm going to get $5,000+ from this mailing initiative, how can I switch over from that to something that's online or something that's different if I already know that that I'm going to raise $5,000 if I send out a mailer, right? So those transitions can be incredibly difficult. And you know, we have at Commit Change, we have nonprofits. Oh, Christine is only hearing every fourth word. I'll try to maybe talk a little bit more slowly, Christine. And I also I shared my LinkedIn and my Twitter information there. I'd love to connect with anyone after that that would like to chat a little bit more. I'm happy to have some one-on-one conversations, or to create a new initiative that is maybe going to in the future replace something that you've previously done for potentially years, right? There's nothing wrong with doing both of those campaigns in tandem and letting the runoff, right, from one fund the other. So what I mean by that is if I've sent out paper letters every year for my holiday giving campaign, and it's a mailing list solicitation for gifts. You know, it can be scary to try to run an internet fundraiser, especially if I know that my donors are going to give through paper mailings. And certainly, I don't think any of us are trying to advocate that that if you have something that that works, that you that you immediately switch over from that to try to do crowdfunding or try to do web fundraising. So with that in mind, you know, if you're gonna try something new, if you're gonna kind of change gears for your fundraising efforts, certainly consider continuing what has worked in the past, and launching that new campaign in tandem with what has worked in the past, and see where your what your results produce. I hope that was helpful a little bit.
Yeah, and we're still getting some choppiness to it. So my hope here is if people aren't able to hear it, we are going to send out the recording, and it should be a lot better through there, because right now it's coming through the phone properly. I'm just not sure of the software. And again, apologize for people. We were testing out something new. But let's still,
I'll also say we're planning on sending out sort of a summary of the topics we're hoping to cover today out in an email, which Benjamin will send your way from yours truly and Jason over here. Oh, other way.
So we have a question from Diana. Diana, are you able to hear us clearly right now? And we do want everybody to be able to hear every question because we think it's effective. Okay, perfect. I am going to put in Diana's question to chat and read it. Again, let us know if you have any type of follow-ups. Give it 1 second. It is being pretty slow, so I'm going to read the question. It should appear in chat in 1 second. Diana asks, our problem as a startup nonprofit is one of advertising. We've had what appears to be a terrific campaign with emotional appeal make the word out. Costs for ad here in Atlanta are beyond our very, very modest budget. Can you suggest other ways to get the word out? Which is a great question.
Yeah, I'll take this first, Jason, and then if you wanna, I'm sure you'll have more to add afterwards. So ads, are very expensive. Yes, they can be effective, but not always necessary. What we always suggest is finding your key evangelists in your community. So say that's your board members, say that's, parents of kids that participate in your program, even your employees, and get them, encourage them to get their friends and family to donate. They are going to be your best form of advertising. It's something that they obviously truly care about. It's something that they can speak to. And, they're asking, and, mobilizing people who care about them. So I think that is really the best way to do that. And you can do that, through email, through a phone call. It's just really about being able to ask those individuals to, speak to your organization. And that can even be, doing a peer-to-peer campaign. So, having your board come together, and maybe it's a group of them, maybe it's just one of them raising, $100, $200, just with that message, and then getting their network involved with your organization. And then hopefully, they won't just be one-time donors to this campaign, but through your email outreach and, through connecting to access?
Yeah, definitely. You brought up a great point about the board, but I love this question because Commit Change is a startup, right? We struggle with the exact same problems that any of you guys struggle with as far as advertising, right? Commit Change, we're trying to constantly find new nonprofits to bring on as paying customers. There's not a huge budget for paid ads or anything like that. So how do we reach our target audience, right? How do we reach the people who are most likely to connect with our message? And our message, right, is nonprofit fundraising. Well, one thing that Rachel brought up, and this is really key, is the activation of your board, the participation of your board. And I see Deanna there. Her board is herself, her sister, and her mom. But, I know a lot of you guys have board members who probably are big donors, which may be why you brought them on as board members, because they were active participants or donors in your program. But now that they're board members, they don't want to be the ones to go out and make solicitations. They don't want to be the ones to go out and advertise for you guys. If you have a board member on your nonprofit who's not willing to stamp their name on your cause in public, find a new board member. I know that's easier said than done, but the purpose of it is to help you guys gain awareness and eyeballs in the community. And the other piece of that is find other organizations who align with your mission and target them to work with. So, for example, Commit Change, we have this wonderful partnership with grassroots.org. Grassroots.org has thousands of members who participate and actively work in their community, right? About not just nonprofit fundraising, but all kinds of technology and different efforts related to nonprofits. And so, Commit Change is just gleaning a tiny, we're just getting a tiny little bit of that audience. But by partnering with an organization who is not completely focused on our mission, right, but has similar goals in mind, right, and those similar goals being, provide best-of-breed technologies and coaching to nonprofits who need it most, Commit Change is able to get more people aligned with what we're trying to do and aware of what we're trying to do. So for a nonprofit, for example, if we can get really granular for a second, and guys, let me know if I'm cutting in and out. I don't want to be talking to myself and not getting the point across. But to be really granular, let's say that your organization is trying to provide running water to a small village in a third world country, okay? And there happens to a huge nonprofit called Charity Water. If you don't know about Charity Water, look it up. It's water.org. Amazing organization, huge nonprofit, right? But they all the time use hashtags to promote their cause, right? And what I mean by hashtag is that little symbol, that little pound symbol, and then a word on Twitter that helps you to find conversations that are happening around that topic. And so Charity Water all the time uses the word clean water as a hashtag, okay? And thousands and thousands and thousands of people use this hashtag all the time. Well, if I'm a nonprofit trying to bring awareness to this small village that really needs a well built, and I know that there's a conversation going on around clean water with a particular hashtag, I can certainly use that hashtag to join the conversation, right, and bring awareness to my organization. So to get back to your point, yeah, love dog. Diana here, she has one hashtag love dogs. That's perfect, right? Anybody can relate to that, and people are having conversations all over the place that have nothing to do with your nonprofit, and probably are using the hashtag love dogs. And so, joining conversations that are already happening and inserting yourself into those communities can be a great way, going back to your original point about advertising your nonprofit with no budget, at no cost. And that's really the key, right? Your current donors, your current supporters, you have access to those people. You already know how to develop and maintain relationships with your current supporters, right? When is the best time to reach out to them, to send them a mailer, or run a commit change campaign, or solicit them for a donation, right? How do you get new people aware of and bought into your message? And a great way to do that is have conversations in places where those types of people are already hanging out. I'm happy to expound on that too.
Yeah, I want to actually ask a follow-up question for Diana. And this is about, and if you can't answer the question, if it's not up your alley, I think it might be a good question to go search out for her. But what about board recruitment? What would be a good tactic for an organization who has a smaller board right now to go out, maybe recruit somebody or start that recruiting process, something very, maybe a small first step towards it? What would you guys recommend?
Yeah, I don't know. Rachel has worked at a few different nonprofits, so she could probably answer this a little bit better. I'd love to know too, right?
Yeah,
honestly, this is a bit out of our realm of expertise, to be honest. There are a few sites that I know of that I can't think of off the top of my head. I'd be happy to send that, sort of with that summary email. But it's where they actually the companies themselves or the organizations, they gather together folks who want to become board members of nonprofits, and they gather them together in a room, and they also get the nonprofits in there, and then they sort of match them together based on their interests and, the interest of the cause of the organization.
I apologize for, putting something out there, but I do have a few recommendations. First off, LinkedIn. If you go to LinkedIn, there are people who will list. There's a field where they'll list that they are specifically looking to join a board. So you might want to do a quick search through your LinkedIn contacts, find interesting people who might meet a few qualifications for you to join your board. And also, Rachel is kind of describing different websites that might help you with board recruitment. Something like boardsource.org, and I'll type that into chat, might help you with just the training towards that. So it might be a good thing to look if you're trying to find a board help to help in your fundraising or getting out your message.
I think just a footnote to that too, Ben, is that people who want to be on the board of nonprofits, they're actively looking too. Okay, so potential board members and nonprofits who are looking for great board members, you guys are trying to find each other. Okay, so don't despair, right, when you're not finding the perfect board member to or the perfect person to solicit as a board member. The perfect board member is looking for your organization too. And I personally, I know definitely that Rachel and many of our team, we get solicited all the time to join boards of nonprofits because we have a very specific background. But I personally will tell you this, that prior to Commit Change, I was trying for years to get onto the board of a particular nonprofit over in Louisiana, which is where I'm from. And those decisions at larger nonprofits, and I know Diana here is a growing nonprofit, but at a larger nonprofit, it's difficult to even it's difficult for a potential board member to even show why they would have the qualifications or the expertise to make, a valuable board member for the organization. So in the same way that you need to craft your story and build a case for why someone would want to join the board of your nonprofit, those potential board members are trying to do the same thing.
And I really do like what CJ just put into chat. When we're bringing in people into grassroots as consideration for grassroots.org, it's first as some type of advisor on a committee to make sure that they're committed to grassroots.org and they can have a smaller role before kind of tackling the issues of the relationships that they have to in a board. Tanya asked a question towards trying to meet grantor expectations. Our in-kind support is excellent. However, we don't know what kind of campaign we can run to secure funds to make us eligible. Is there? It seems like the small steps to get towards the level to be meeting those expectations. Do you have any insight, Rachel or Jason?
So the question is, how do you become eligible to do fundraising, or is the question just how you get started?
It seems to be getting started with the campaigns to meet the expectations for grants. Certain grants will, if I'm not mistaken, require a certain amount of capital in the organization.
Well, a grant, of course, is very different from individual giving, right? If you look at the $217 billion a year charitable donation number, right? $217 billion is the full amount of gifts given every year to nonprofits. Only $22 billion of that $217 billion is in individual giving. So only about a quarter of that, less than a quarter of that today is individual gifts. A huge chunk of that, and I'm sorry I don't know the exact number on this. I'm sure it's at least half, if not more, are grants from both individuals and foundations, and that's a completely separate fundraising effort than individual giving and crowdfunding and raising donations versus large grants or gifts to your nonprofit. And so my only comment on that, and again, at Commit Change, we're really focused on that donor experience and those fundraising tools, and grant funding being a little outside of that scope. The only comment that I would make on grants is that it's still about the story. It's still about the what is compelling enough to, because at the end of the day, it's a person reading your grant proposal, right? If you're filling out an application for a foundation who's a $200 million foundation, you're applying for a $5,000 grant from that foundation. At the end of the day, it's still a person reading that grant, that request for funding. So again, making a human connection to your story is really crucial. And sorry, I'm not an expert on grants, and I know Rachel and Ben. I don't know, maybe you guys could speak to that a little bit better than I could.
I have not done grants myself, but what I am doing is taking down some of these questions and later going to people who are experts. So if you are interested, we can get some answers and send it out to the people who are in this office hours webinar if they're interested in continuing to kind of figure out the answers to these questions or have that continued dialogue.
No, there are a few people who have had this exact discussion in a Facebook group about grants, and that's where I've learned most of what I know about grant proposals. And I'm going to share that link right now. If you're a Facebook addict like I am, go join this group, and there's lots of good discussion around that happening. And I know Ben and Rachel are both in this group as well. So if you have other additional questions, feel free to throw those up in the group, and I'm sure either us or someone else will get to them.
Now, I'm going to let it it's been 45 minutes, and I know there's been a lot of problems with the audio, and again, we apologize for this. I can't repeat that enough. So what we've learned is that any meeting is not the way to go. It was a lot easier last time. For those people who were here last time, I remember not having any issues or people saying that they were having quality issues with voice. So we'll go back to GoToWebinar. But to kind of wrap this up, if there's any last questions, feel free to ask them. But we're going to leave that form up. So if you have any questions that you think of later, myself, Rachel, Jason, or there's a lot of other resources that we have, or maybe other people want to, look at them. I believe Jason's going to drop the Facebook group name right in the chat, right there.
There we go.
So I think we're going to, wrap it up. The recording will be going out tomorrow, but feel free. Jason had dropped his LinkedIn and his Twitter handle, and I'll put that again into the email tomorrow. So if you want to chat with Jason, if you want to chat with Rachel, they're open to it. Also, we're going to leave in the website for Commit Change that is specifically for grassroots. So check out what we're offering through Commit Change. There is numerous feel free to take a look at what they're offering. We're ecstatic about what they're offering, that we actually joined Commit Change. So we appreciate everybody's time. And thank you to Rachel and Jason for continuing to, make office hours something.
Yeah, happy to do so. And, when you, again, I'm going to leave my email in the chat. When you work with Commit Change, we like to make sure that you're personally taken care of. So we offer, personal consultations, with us as your strategist on, where to take your fundraising to the next level. So feel free to reach out. We'd love to have you as part of the family.
I know too that we have 27 attendees hanging out in any meeting. And Ben, if you don't mind just leaving the meeting up for a little while longer, even after you guys pop out, I'm happy to sit here and go through the chat if people just have discussion items or questions that they want to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll stay on until the last person leaves, just to go back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely. We have another 45 minutes where it's not going to end on us, so happy to do that.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great.